I'm honored this morning to introduce our Campaign for Liberty state panel. These gentlemen have taken the tools provided in Campaign for Liberty's activist training and concretely placed them into practice. They've removed bad politicians from office, killed bad legislation, and have forced politicians to follow the Constitution, and these are just a few of their favorite activities. So I'd like to bring forward our panel. First, we have Shawn from Arizona. We have Talbert Black from South Carolina. And we have Tony DeMott from Michigan. Shawn is a small business owner from Arizona, married for 18 years and the father of one. Shawn has taken our confrontational politics tactics to 29 states, winning over 70 elections. He is the state director for the Arizona Campaign for Liberty and served as the Ron Paul presidential campaign director for Arizona. He's led the fight to remove red light cameras all across the country, winning 100% of the elections involving these automatic ticketing machines. Shawn has been involved in candidate races from city council all the way up to president and written legislation that has passed in over 15 states. Next, we have Talbert. Talbert has been active in state politics for over 14 years and works as a software engineer. Mr. Black has led South Carolina Campaign for Liberty to several major victories, including forcing the legislature to go on the record by holding roll call votes and getting Governor Nikki Haley to declare South Carolina would not set up a state health care exchange under Obamacare. And to understand just briefly what Talbert did, until Talbert took on in the state legislature roll call votes, there had never been a single recorded roll call vote in the legislature of South Carolina till Talbert got involved. On the end, we have Tony DeMott from Michigan. Tony is a U.S. Navy veteran, and he's the chair of the Washtenaw County Board of Canvassers. As the Campaign for Liberty state coordinator in Michigan, Tony has earned a well-deserved reputation as a fierce and highly effective defender of liberty, committing to restoring freedom through grassroots organization and mobilization. Tony also serves as the policy director for People Against the NDAA. And for those that might not be aware of all Tony's contributions to the Liberty Movement, he's the person responsible for helping to pass right to work in the state of Michigan. So I want to get started with our first question. I'd like to ask the panelists, and we'll start with Shawn. Shawn, what is exactly in Campaign for Liberty? What does a state leader do?
Well, first and foremost, a state leader is going to create more leaders. He needs to duplicate himself. He needs to get out there, train up his activists so that he can get them to then create more leaders. That's really what it boils down to. I mean, we provide all the tools and resources that we can to whatever issue it is that they're wanting to fight on, but mostly it's to duplicate ourselves and create more leaders.
You know, in addition to that, you do have to actually lead on some battles and some fights and choose what legislation your team's going to go after. And the funnest thing is actually just embarrassing politicians.
You really can't say much more than that. We find, recruit, and train activists, and we pick fights. That's our primary responsibility. So it's a lot of fun being a state leader, and it's an opportunity that you get to go out and hassle politicians where maybe previously you kind of felt there was nothing that could be done, things were hopeless, these politicians were entrenched. Well, you get into Campaign for Liberty and you start utilizing these tools that they give you, and you can really, really make a difference in places that you never thought you could before.
The next question's for all the panelists also. What is a major battle or fight that you have conducted in the past in your state? Tell us a little bit about one of your fights and maybe some of the lessons that you've learned from them.
Well, most recently we had I don't know if any of you saw the Drudge Report this week about John McCain. We in Campaign for Liberty went after John McCain for some of the things that he was doing. That we got a lot of press on it, and it turns out this week that John McCain announced he's probably just going to retire.
Awesome, awesome.
You know, I talked about embarrassing state politicians, and I just want to mention during the roll call fight that we had a couple of years ago, the champion of that bill, our bill sponsor, was my representative at the time, Representative Nikki Haley, who is currently our governor. And before we actually got that bill passed, she had become governor. And you know, one of the things they teach you in training is to be careful who you pick as your bill sponsor. And you don't want somebody who has higher political aspirations, because it can become a real danger to your bill. We ended up having to fight against the governor, who was the original bill sponsor, to keep the bill strong and to require roll call votes on every bill that we wanted to get passed, because she had actually become an enemy to the bill and was trying to undercut us. So we ended up having to embarrass the governor, who was the previous sponsor of the bill.
Well, we've had a lot of fights. We stopped what we called the government bridge, which was essentially the NAFTA superhighway outlet through Michigan to Canada. That one's not so well known, but it shouldn't be lost that there were literally billions of dollars going into the fight against us, and we managed to stop that. We did stop the Obamacare exchanges in Michigan, and of course our most famous one is getting right to work in Michigan, which was just an amazing experience to go through that, and the help that we got from a lot of other organizations like the National Right to Work Committee, and seeing a major battle like that go from beginning to end is just phenomenal. When we started that battle, it was quite literally a bunch of us grassroots guys that just got into a room in Lansing and said, you know what, we want to start the process for right to work. We knew it would be a long battle. Well, we thought it would be a long battle. Michigan was kind of a fluke in the speed that it went through, you know, the right time, the right place, a little bit of luck, and a lot of preparation in building these grassroots up. And building the structure up for the grassroots in previous fights. So, you know, each fight builds upon itself. You know, each fight is preparation for the next bigger and better fight. So every fight that we get into, we want to come out of that, win or lose on the legislative side, we want to come out of that stronger. We want to come out of that with more people, more grassroots, and more funding and more money, and we want to be stronger. So we had done all of that leading up to right to work, and it just, you know, it turned out that when that came around, we started kind of pushing it, and it started getting traction, and we were able to switch that switch on, that grassroots switch, and put massive pressure on the politicians all across the state. And a few other things came into play. There were some big money guys that hopped in and put a bunch of money into it, and you know, of course, National Right to Work Committee is always there when these things pop up. So kind of, you know, you can say the stars aligned, you can say that we were lucky, but we got it.
I think a lot of that luck was just preparation that you talked about. That's so important.
And for Michigan to be the state that just became the right to work state, that is absolutely, I thought it was impossible. We all did. And what you did was just absolutely amazing, Tony. It really is.
Thank you. Being from Maryland, there's just so many issues to take on. Many of you might not be aware we now have a tax on rain in Maryland. And if you're driving through Maryland to get home, please note that when you see a sign on the interstate that say radar, they're serious about it, because they have those SUVs that are just taking your picture. And I know Brad from Massachusetts, when he got here, gave me a hard time because he said, "Why didn't you warn me about that? I got a $40 ticket last time I went through Maryland." So there's so many issues to take on, and this is something that really new activists that come on board, if they don't have direction, they're never sure what fight to take on. So, gentlemen, I want to ask you, there's so many assaults on our liberty on both the state and local level. How do you decide which issues to get involved in?
Well, what I could tell you the best thing to do is to go to campaignforliberty.org and sign up for one of their training classes. They provide you with the tools to figure out which battles to get involved with. They give you the tools to know how to win or lose, and they give you the resources you need to put everything into effect. So the best thing I can tell you to do is go to campaignforliberty.org, sign up for one of their classes, and get those tools. I know tomorrow we're having a training classes, and we're going to be providing those tools to everybody. Those are the tools that they gave me. I came into this never being involved in politics before. I took those tools that they gave me. I ran around the country using them like a hammer, just whacking politicians left and right. And it became so much fun that I just can't stop. I can't stop.
If you've been involved in grassroots activism for any amount of time, you know that everybody and their brother has the greatest idea that you need to work on right now with all of your resources, excluding everything else. And when you have all of these people coming to you who are good people, who you like, who you know, that are good friends, or who you respect, you've got to have a way of filtering through all of that and determining what is the best thing to be working on right now with my limited time, my limited resources, my limited number of people. Where is it that we're going to put all of that? And I'm telling you, the training that Shawn talked about is critical for you to have so that you can know how to filter through these things. And there's actually a way that you can very empirically go through all of the issues that are before you that are possibilities and picking the one or two that are going to be the most profitable for freedom and liberty, the best for building your group, and the best for your state or your county or whatever your local issue is that, or your group that you're working with.
I think it's important to note that we're not picking fights based on emotion. Yeah, some of the fights that we get into, you know, we can certainly be emotionally passionate about and things like that, but we're not picking fights based on emotion. See, you know, next year when I come here, I want to see double the number of people in this room. So if I want to get double the number of people in this room, what do I got to do? You know, I have to do the things necessary that will bring people to our cause, and that comes into play when you're picking fights. Like Talbert said, you can't fight every fight, and sometimes, you know, we can't even fight the biggest fight. You know, we have to fight the fights that we can fight, and we have to fight fights smart. So we take a look at every fight. We kind of run them through a system, and it goes through a process. We're very methodical about how we're picking the fights, and you know, we want to make sure it's good policy. You know, we want to make sure that when we go out there and we take this fight to the public and things like that, that it's a fight that they can understand, you know. So is the issue too complex and you know, out of their sphere of understanding? You know, is it an issue that you know, our activists will get involved? Will they, you know, contribute the money so that we can do the mailers, so that we can, you know, do all the activities that it comes with fighting a legislative fight? You know, if we pick a fight and none of you folks want to give us any money to do a mailer on it, then we're not going to be too successful. So we have to look at those factors. So it's more than just, you know, is this you know, the biggest fight that we can fight? Is this an emotional fight that we care about? And sometimes our activists don't quite understand that when we make a decision, but my experience is that afterwards, if we do it right and we become stronger and we can then continue to fight more of these fights, that our activists do see what we're doing on that level and appreciate that aspect of it. But it's very key that you learn to pick fights properly, and you learn that at the one-day training school, which will be tomorrow. If you haven't been to a one-day training school, highly encourage you to get to that.
And if you can't make tomorrow's, do like Shawn said, go to the Campaign for Liberty website and sign up for one of the one-day trainings that'll be in your local area.
Okay, thank you. So if a person approaches you in your state and wants to get a local group going, a Campaign for Liberty, what does Campaign for Liberty and yourselves have to offer someone that's interested in starting a new group in your state?
Well, what CampaignForLiberty.org has put together is a full package of all the resources and tools that you need to be effective in politics. There's only so much time, talent, and treasure that we have. If we're going to do it, let's do it to win. And Campaign for Liberty has put everything together for you. So all you have to do is just go on and click on Get Involved. There's a button there, and all those tools and resources will be provided to you so that you can help build your membership, grow your organization, and fight on whatever issue it is out there. Now, most of us, we only fight for, liberty issues, so those are the much harder battles to fight. And we've been effective in getting all these liberty-stealing bills taken away and liberty-enhancing bills passed. And the tools that they've given us have been proven to be effective time and time again. So just go click Get Involved, and you will get involved, trust me.
A little example, in one of the counties in South Carolina just recently, I've had a couple, Judy and Britt Adams, who were fighting a local option sales tax, and they weren't part of Campaign for Liberty. They didn't really know what we did, but they knew me, and they knew what I was able to do at the state level. So they were very interested in figuring out how to implement that at a local level. So we got them to a one-day training. We got them set up as county coordinators, and now they have available to them a ready email list that they can use, and they have used. They put together an online petition that we put on the Campaign for Liberty website so that they could email that out. Friends could then re-email it, forward it, post it on Facebook, tweet it. They get more people involved in the fight that way. So they're really taking in the training that they have been given and the tools that are available from Campaign for Liberty. And plus they get access to the consultants that Campaign for Liberty has, Kirk Shelley, and the folks, so that they can really understand how to be very effective in fighting that local option sales tax. And within about a month's time, Britt had a phone call from one of the friends of the county councilman who wanted to try to get him to ease back on this fight. I mean, good grief, man, you're messing things up, and I know you need to fight this, but you're embarrassing some people, and when you start getting those kind of phone calls, you're starting to be effective. And then the training helps you to know what to do with those phone calls to keep from getting sold out.
I mean, one of the things, we've talked about the one-day training school. We've repeated that 4 or 5 times here. But what we haven't talked about is the coordinator program that we have with Campaign for Liberty. So if you find your state coordinator, you may already know them and talk to them, or you can get on the website and communicate with your state coordinator. But we have a county coordinator program led by my favorite Deb Wells, and she will help you through this process. So what she'll do is she'll get you started with training that you can go through right from your home. You don't have to wait for a couple months down the road for the one-day training school, although that's your next step. You want to get to that one-day training school. That is the next step once you've gone through the county coordinator training program. But you know, they do online webinars, and so they'll go through some of this training in online webinars. They have a whole program that they can walk you through. And if you're a serious activist and you're serious about restoring your liberty, then that's what you'll do. And you won't just, you know, put that training on in the background and then, you know, go do something else. You'll become a student of it. You'll become a student of these methodologies. And through that county coordinator program that Deb Wells has put together, you can do this, and you can do this from your home, and you can watch these. You'll get access to videos, training videos, and things like that you can watch from home. So you can get these things in. We're all busy people, you know, and you can get these things in the time that it's manageable for you, and you can start putting these things into practice. And then you get to the one-day school, and you get even more, and you get a little more advanced training, and then we can get you to a 3-day regional school where you can get even more advanced training. So Campaign for Liberty doesn't ask you to just go out there and do things for it. They put a lot of time and resources and smart people into developing this training and getting you the tools that you could use to be successful. And in my experience, the only reason that a lot of the folks that, you know, say they wanna get involved and help out and make a difference is they don't take advantage of those tools. So they're out there, and they've been developed, and people have put a lot of hard work, and there's some amazing material in this training that they can get you. So that's where you really want to start. You want to get a hold of your state coordinator, Deb Wells. You can get a hold of both of them through the website if you don't already know who your state coordinator is. And you want to get started on that county coordinator process. And you know, there's going to be a little bit of homework, but I guess if you're not willing to go out and do the research on your precinct that they're going to ask you to do, then you know, maybe you're not willing to really seriously fight for liberty in that fashion. So, you know, there'll be a little bit of homework, and they're gonna put you to the test. But if you go through that, you're gonna come out a top-notch activist, and you will be able to make a difference.
Okay, thank you. All right, gentlemen, what happens if there's someone here in the audience that wants to get involved building a local group in their county or their town, but there's no state leader in their state?
For those of you that are in the room right now and you want to get involved, there is an amazing person who's in this room right now that you absolutely need to go and introduce yourself to. If you look in the back, Deb, go ahead and stand up. That pretty lady all the way in the back there, that's Deb Wells. She's been registering. That is one of the most professional and helpful people you will ever meet. If you want to start a local group and you want to get involved, make sure you go introduce yourself to Deb Wells and tell her, I want to be a state leader. I want to do this. And she will get you just material after material, books and books of information that you need, and she'll help get you trained up so that you know exactly how to be effective. Sorry, Deb.
I can't say enough good things about Deb. From the very beginning of my involvement with Campaign for Liberty, Deb was there, and I talked to her really, not daily, but pretty dang close to it. And she's always patient and kind and helpful. And so, yeah, if there's no state coordinator in your state, then Deb is the official state coordinator for the states that don't have one, and she will help you out with whatever you need and be very smiling and kind about it.
Well, I'm just going to double down on the praise for Deb Wells. She certainly is my favorite Deb. You will not meet somebody that cares more or will do more to help you be successful than Deb Wells. But you know, we also need to kind of address the intangibles. When I first started, right after the Rally for the Republic, I like Dave, went right back and just simply started a group. You know, I started my county organization right there, and I didn't have all of these resources and tools, so it was even harder on me to get over the humps and figure out how to do things right. But that's what you need to do, is you need to go back and you need to start your county organization. You need to organize on a county level, have a county meeting. Dave Pridgeon has developed a wonderful template for putting together and running a county meeting, which is, once again, available through our county coordinator program. And you go back and you start that county organization. You get everybody that you can get. If that's 2 people, you call them up and say, we're going to have a meeting. And we're going to talk about how to get 4 people to our meeting. And then at that next meeting, you're going to talk about how to get 5 people to your meeting. And you're going to pull them in one at a time if you have to. And that's what it takes. You have to go back and just start doing it. You have to take the initiative. And if you mull around and you say, well, I'm not sure what to do and how to do it, then it's never going to get done. You have the benefit of being able to contact Deb and being able to contact these other leaders within Campaign for Liberty and get all of that information. When I started, I did not have Dave's fantastic template for running a county meeting, you know, and I did. I could go through a litany list of things that I did wrong. But you have that. And so right now, what it takes is for you to just stand up, say, I've had enough, go home, call your friends, organize a county meeting, and just get started.
I just want to say, when I got started, I had no clue what I was doing. I just wanted to go do something because I was really angry that there was no roll call votes. That was how I got started with Campaign for Liberty. And I just went out there and started doing stuff. And half of the things that I did were probably 90% of the things that I did were wrong. But I was out there and active. And as I did things, Deb was there, Kirk was there to help guide me and to start chopping away the things that weren't effective and to start focusing me on things that were effective. And the biggest thing is just do something. Get started and enjoy it. It's fun. We had no state coordinator when I got started. After about a year, I was the state coordinator. And I still didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, it all worked out.
Luckily, the line for Deb Wells is going to get very long, so there is a second person that you can talk to. There was this great handbook that was developed this year for helping people at the local level to get involved and to build their group. And it was put together by the Campaign for Liberty director who has built the largest organization in the country, Dave Pridgeon here. Dave holds his monthly meetings, and he has the largest in the country. He has the best meeting in the country, the most fun in the country. So when the line is too long for Deb and you don't feel like waiting anymore, make sure you grab Dave Pridgeon.
Well, I want to thank our panelists and relate to each of our audience members that if you are interested in getting involved with Campaign for Liberty and you want to start to take control of your own political destiny on the local level, Talbert, Tony, and Shawn or myself are available to provide you with any additional information and answer any questions you may have. So thank you very much for your attention.